Today we're going to talk about artists using Instagram. Hello lovely friends, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Michelle, I'm an artist and hand weaver, and I post every fortnight on this channel about my creative practices as well as creative motivation. So if you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. So a couple of years ago, I received a consultation by Hayley Osborne. I'll leave her details in the description below. She does an amazing podcast about marketing and social media, and she gave me some great tips about growing my Instagram page. I don't have 1 million followers or anything, but it has grown very organically due to some tips that she gave me that I'm going to share with you today. Number one is consistency. So it doesn't mean that you need to post every single day, but you do need to decide how many times that you want to post each week. So I usually post 3 times a week, and usually that's on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. It's not always exactly the same. Sometimes I get the urge to post a reel and things like that, or post on my stories. But if you keep a loose time frame of when you want to post, say every couple of days, then your audience is going to know when you're going to post. And also the Instagram algorithm rewards you for being consistent. So I think that would be the number one tip, is consistency and you deciding what fits in with your schedule. Number 2 is plan ahead. Now, if you don't plan ahead, then you tend to do what Hayley calls panic posting. And I know that I used to do that all the time. So with planning ahead, all I do is I use Notion, but you can use whatever you want. I go in and I plan what I'm going to post. So for my Threefold Designs account, because that's all hand weaving, one time I'll post a reel, one time I'll post just a static picture, but I'll do my captions then as well. I'll have that all planned out, say on the weekend for the following week. And that way, when it comes time to post, I'm not thinking, oh no, what am I going to post? Because that's when you don't have the inspiration to post anything interesting. So I have everything planned ahead for the whole week. Another thing I like to do is have all of my hashtags in my notes app on my phone, so that when I'm posting, I can just automatically copy and paste the hashtags. That again makes it very quick and easy. I do mix these hashtags up depending on what I'm posting, but I like to keep it fairly consistent. Number 3 is push yourself. Now, I know that Instagram is saying reels, 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 and a lot of people are very cringy about doing video, but I'm going to challenge you to just push yourself and get yourself out of your comfort zone and think about making video. So as an artist, your process is really, really interesting. And even if you don't think it's interesting, I can guarantee that your audience will. So set yourself a little challenge. See if you can prop your phone up on some books, or if you have a tripod, use a tripod and just film yourself doing your artwork or doing something that you think, it might not be that interesting, but give it a try. People love to see you making art, you with your creative processes. Make sure you are in quite a lot of the photos, because personally I find a lot of engagement comes if I'm in the photo. If you just have pictures of your work and that's all, and people can't see your face, you may find that you won't get as much engagement. Number 4, design your feed. Hey, we're artists. We should have aesthetic quality to everything that we do. So the look of your feed actually is important, even though some people may not agree. But really, when you go onto your page, what do you want your audience to see? You want to have some pin posts up the top that actually give an overview of what you do. You also want to have a specific color scheme. So what's the overall vibe of your artwork? So with my Threefold Designs account, I've got my brand colors in there, which is the magenta, and I've also kept a bit of white space around things that are too dark. So I've made sure that my feed looks aesthetically pleasing. In my story highlights, I've also used the same branded colors so that it all matches in together. For my Michelle Driver artist account, which is my art account that I only just started a few months ago, for that one, because my artwork has a lot of black in it, I have kept it quite dark. So I haven't worried about using a lot of white balance like I do for the Threefold Designs one. Also, my audience is quite different. So again, I've used a different look for that particular Instagram account. So have a look at your account, see if it looks coherent, and if it doesn't, see what you can do to make it look more coherent. Another thing that Hayley suggested that I do for my Threefold Designs account is every now and then do a post just with text. So that could be a customer review, that could be a quote, just something to break up the feed and put a little bit of negative space in there. Number 5, think of your customer. I mean, that's assuming that you know who your customer is. But basically, the reason for thinking of your customer is so that when you do your copy, so when you do your caption underneath your photos, then you know that you can tell a bit of a story about your work. You're thinking of something that your customer might want to know about. So if you're doing, for example, artwork, you want to tell the story behind the artwork and why you created it. For my Threefold Designs account, there are some things the customer wants to know, like what kind of materials do I use for my scarves? What's the weaving process? So these are all things I try and put myself into the mind of the customer. What would I want to know about that product? So try and put yourself into their shoes. And the 6th tip that I'm going to give you today is, what is the soundtrack of your account? Now, I know that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I am very, very passionate about music, and I believe that music can invoke a certain vibe. So for each of my accounts, I have a very specific soundtrack. So for my Threefold Designs account, that is a little bit different. I tend to use sort of new wave, alternative 80s music for that one, because it does resonate with my customers, and also that's kind of the general vibe of my work. And that seems to resonate with quite a lot of people. But for my art account, I basically use the same music that I listen to while I'm creating it. So it's a bit more personal. The music that I use for that account is the just typical goth music that I listen to most of the time, as well as dark ambient and a bit of doom metal. So I do tend to keep the music for that account very personal, whereas the Threefold Designs account is a little bit more commercial, and it's kind of like a bridge between the two. So not wanting to alienate too many people, but then still wanting to be authentic to myself. So as a summary, basically your Instagram page is very authentic to you. So think about what would people say about you if they're describing your personality? If you look at what you wear every day, that's how you can tell what colours that you can use for your particular branding. The idea is to be as authentic as possible so that it's easy to create content for your Instagram page. There's no point pretending you're something you're not, because that way you're never going to know what to say and how to post. But if you keep your social media feed very authentic, and you speak about things that you're passionate about, and you use music that you're passionate about, and you write your copy with things that you're passionate about, you're going to find it so much easier to find the inspiration to know exactly what to post, and you're going to be able to connect with the people that you need to connect with. So think less about getting customers or getting curators to see your art. Think less about things like that, and think more about what is your true authentic self. Because I think with social media, if you are being true to yourself, the right people will find you. And also use hashtags, that also helps. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. I would love for you to share your tips below so that others reading them can give them a try, so that I can give them a try. Hey, I always like to be open-minded and take any advice on board. And if it feels good, then I'll give it a go. So please share your tips below. And until the next video, bye.